Thank you for your text as well on 0467 842 722. Taking your calls, texts and happy hour stories right throughout the afternoon here on Drive. Now, you might have seen the shocking footage this week of the fire that erupted in a Sydney hostel after an e-bike battery caught on fire. 2 people narrowly escaped the flames. They escaped into the corridor when it happened. Then there was that tragic bus crash in Venice where 21 people died this week. The bus drove off a bridge and burst into flames, and authorities said that the bus's batteries, it was an electric bus, caught fire and made clearing that bus much harder and the rescue effort much harder. The Australian Competition and Consumer Commission has issued a warning this week to consumers to choose, check, use and dispose of batteries safely, as incidents like this are on the rise. Now, your smartphone's probably the most common device in households with this kind of battery. So should we be worried? Associate Professor Ritesh Chugh is a socio-tech expert from Central Queensland University and with me now. Ritesh, good afternoon to you. Should we be worried about the batteries in our smartphones?
Good afternoon. Prue and I, it is important to be cautious rather than be worried. And the reason I say that, and you rightly pointed out, lithium-ion batteries are very common in devices that we have at home. In fact, if you look around your home, you'll see at least 10 different devices that have lithium-ion batteries, whether they're your mobile phone, whether it's your laptop, whether it's your iPad or tablets, e-bikes, and even your power drills that have batteries. So it's important to know what can go wrong. Lithium-ion batteries have a tendency to be overcharged. And when the battery is overcharged, they overheat. And it's that overheating that can cause explosion, that can lead to fires. So it's important to be cautious.
So for me, I charge my phone next to my bed at night and I leave it on all night. Am I in danger of seeing my phone explode at some point?
Please don't leave it under a blanket, pillow, or your body while it's connected to a power source. It's always important to charge your phone in a well-ventilated area. Because, look, let's say there is no problem with the phone. The phone's perfect. But let's say if you have a faulty cable. Now, that faulty cable could overheat and, it could lead to fire. So never do that. In fact, my advice really is try not to charge your phones overnight or for extended periods. You can charge it during the day, particularly when you can, don't leave your phones unattended while charging. That's the advice.
Wow. I've never really heard that advice, Ritesh. I'm not sure I can do that, but it's really about changing habits, isn't it?
Absolutely. And see, my other advice is, and this goes for all lithium-ion batteries, even, your listeners who have electric vehicles, your manufacturer is perhaps giving the same advice. And that advice is let's call it the 20-80% rule, which means never let your battery dip below 20% charging and don't charge it more than 80%. And most of us, what we want to see is we want to see that 100% battery.
Yeah.
Don't do that. And it's because of that overheating problems that manufacturers like Apple and Samsung, they've got built-in functionality in their phone where the users can restrict. So if you have an Apple phone, there is a setting called optimized battery charging. You can go and flick it, and what that will do is it won't charge your battery past 80%. And Samsung, again, there is a functionality called Protect Battery. You go and flick it on, what it will do, it will limit the maximum charge to 85% only. So the reason we don't want our batteries to touch that 100% charge is because, we want to enhance the lifespan of our batteries. That's the reason, the manufacturers have got this functionality.
Okay, so your advice is don't charge it overnight. Make sure your cables are all right. Make sure it's in a well-ventilated area. But how do you know if the battery might might be getting faulty or might be coming towards the end of its life?
Yeah, good question. Look, if you notice that your phone's heating or overheating excessively, if it has a bulge in the back, then that means that indicates problems. And always take it to an authorized service center to check and repair. In fact, when you started this interview, you alluded to the fires, the example of that e-scooter fire in Sydney. Now, some of those fires have, and I'm talking of experience of listening to incidents of fires through mobile phones as well. Some of those fires have actually been attributed to faulty chargers and cables. So my advice is to use original or certified power chargers rather than getting off-market products that do not meet the required safety standards.
Oh, it's a brave new world we're in, Ritesh. Thank you very much for that advice. I know that watching some of this stuff is quite alarming. We know that it doesn't happen all the time. It is not. It's not something that happens regularly, but when it does, it can be catastrophic.
Absolutely, yes. And that's why the ACCC has issued an advisory, and I just want to leave your listeners with the statistics. The ACCC said that 54% of their respondents use aftermarket phone chargers or aftermarket chargers for charging their lithium-ion batteries, and those aftermarket chargers can be problematic.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll take that on board, Ritesh. Thank you so much for your expertise this afternoon.
Thank you for having me, Prue.
Associate Professor Ritesh Chugh is a socio-technological expert at CQ University. And yeah, I read a few of those stories today, and I saw that footage of the fire that erupted in a Sydney hostel after that e-bike battery caught on fire. It basically exploded. These two people narrowly avoided burns from that. And it really got me wondering that, you know, the same batteries are in just about all of the devices that we use. So it's a timely reminder to make sure that those batteries are being looked after. And as he says, don't charge them overnight. 28 minutes past 4.